This week, I'm really going to be getting my teeth into the search for good customer service. I've been told that I've got to visit the dentists. It's not a nice thing to contemplate at the best of times. But I've got to visit 8 different dentists in as many days. The idea is to find out whether they prescribe the right treatment for me. My first task, though, is to establish whether I actually need any work doing on my teeth. And to do that, I need to undergo a thorough examination by a top professional, who, come to think of it, is yet another dentist. So that makes 9. But I'm not just looking for good treatment. I'll be scrutinising every other aspect of customer service.
Were taught when I was quite young that if you had fillings that were edgy, you would tend to replace them. Nowadays, for example, you wouldn't do that. Under most circumstances, you would leave them.
My wife's coming. Not bad. He's busy today? Does he run 2 surgeries at once then? Does he? Thank you. At last, I'm in the chair. Only 20 minutes after my appointment was due. But the dentist is working on another patient in the surgery next door. I must say that any time spent waiting at the dentist only serves to boost my anxiety levels. Having to wait in the actual chair sends them through the roof. At last, it's my turn. It's now half an hour since my appointment was due.
Hello. Boy, you run a production line.
Yes. Conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Right.
I've just moved to the... This is my... No.
Oh, you didn't.
This is my wife. She keeps on going back to her dentist in Loughborough. So I'm trying to persuade her to move when we move. Yeah.
What's the matter then?
Nothing. I just want to register. I want to register and I want you to give me the once over and tell me... because we're moving to the area.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find an NHS dentist now, isn't it?
Okay, around here.
Yeah. So I want you to just give me the once over and have a look and tell me whether I need any work done.
3 sound, 4 missing gap close. 5 occlusal sound, 6 occlusal sound, 7 occlusal sound.
2 palatal. Upper right.
Who's that? It's a surgery, not a corridor.
2's missing. Space closed. Oh look, there's a little clues or gold inlay up there. Don't see those very often.
His chairside patter sounds convincing enough.
Is that old then?
Yes. It's been there for...
How awful to have teeth which mark you out as being a piece of dental history.
It only looks like one little repair of an old fitting needs to be done.
When have I got to get this done?
Well,
How soon?
it's about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, right. If we can book that, please. Thank you.
So he wants to repair one of my fillings, even though I was told they were okay. I suppose so far I haven't been treated too badly. My next visit is to sunny Eastbourne, but thankfully, I'm not here to see another dentist. I've come to see the people who keep an eye on all the NHS dentists in England and Wales, the Dental Practice Board. They have statutory powers to make sure that public sector dentists aren't over-prescribing, or cherry-picking as it's known in the trade. They run random checks, like this one, on the work that's been done on patients. But what if a patient has a specific complaint about a dentist?
When a patient is discontented with the treatment he or she has received, a complaint can be made to the Health Service Authority. The Health Service Authority will refer the patient, in most cases, for a dental officer examination, and that becomes part of the evidence in the case when the Health Service Authority decides whether to take disciplinary proceedings against the dentist.
All NHS payments to dentists, £1,300 million worth a year, are processed through here. So what goes on in here?
This is our...
We're paying out. The Secretary of State is actually responsible to Parliament for the huge sums of money spent on the General Dental Service. The sort of things the Secretary of State would want to know is when we make these payments, does the patient exist? Does the treatment which has been claimed for, has it actually been done? And sometimes we can even ask the question, was it necessary treatment? And then last, was it done to a sufficient standard to justify the use of public funds? If we think that the dentist has misbehaved in a way that is a fraud on public funds, for example, his claim for treatment he hasn't done, or very occasionally we come across a dentist may have claimed on the National Health Service and also charged the patient as a private patient. If we come across something of that nature, then we would consider that maybe as a matter for the police because it's verging on the criminal and may possibly be fraud.
It's comforting to know that there are checks being made, at least on NHS dentists, but you do still hear horror stories. I've come to meet some people who were all patients of the same man.
I'd been recommended to go to this guy, and everything was fine. There were no problems, and the fact that there were very long appointments, that was the only inconvenience.
So you were going to him regularly, were you?
Yeah.
How often?
Oh, God, 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, 2 or 3 times a week. For an hour and a half at a time, maybe. No, an hour and a half at a time.
He used to inject my mouth, give me 4 or 5 injections, and then he'd put me into the waiting room. He'd wait quarter of an hour, 20 minutes whilst he saw to another patient. Then I'd go back into the room, and then he'd prepare my mouth and give me the filling.
Many times I'd be in the chair for an hour and a half and I'd have to say to him, can you stop? I feel sick, and he'd just keep going on and saying, more, just let me do some more.
The first alarm bell was rang when he had broken his leg, and they brought a locum dentist in.
She just couldn't believe it. She just couldn't believe it. She said none of these things needed doing at all. None of them needed doing.
I believe I had something in the region of about 35, 36 unnecessary fillings.
I can't particularly have anything that's too chewy, say for example toffee or steaks or something of that description, because it's too tough and it pulls my crowns off.
And you've wound up with a worse mouth at the end of it than when you started?
Yes, a mouth that can never ever be repaired.
Do you mind if I have a look in your mouth with our mini camera?
No.
Is that all right? I'm sorry,
Yes.
It's a real intrusion, I know. Thank you.
The dentist that caused these problems is still practicing, despite the fact that more than 70 of his former patients are suing him for compensation. But this particular dentist gave our researcher a clean bill of health, which means under BBC guidelines we could not secretly film him. Back on the road,